Now that we completed step 1, identify the project goals and objectives, we're going to move on to step 2, which is identify the project stakeholders. So who are stakeholders? Well, they're the individuals, the groups, the agencies that are either going to be impacted by the project, or they have an interest in the project, or they could even be the users of the project. We want to capture who these individuals are, these groups are, and they could be internal to the organization, or they could be external. Makes no difference. We still want to capture who these people, groups, or agencies are. And as we do this, we're going to treat them as extensions of our project team. And for each stakeholder, we've got to identify what role are they going to play and how we're going to involve them. That does not necessarily mean that they're going to be on your actual team. What it means is we are going to acknowledge the fact that these individuals, groups, or agencies, that they have a role, that they have an impact on the project, and by doing so, what they're going to do is they're actually going to participate in the requirements definition process. They may not even know that they're participating, but we're going to reach out to them and we're going to ask them what they need from the project. We're not going to do everything that they need, but what we have to do is we have to reach out and see, are there requirements that our project has to satisfy to be successful? If we are doing a project to build a building and we don't acknowledge that there is a permitting agency external to our organization that has certain requirements, we may not even be able to begin construction if we don't have the right permits. That is a stakeholder. The stakeholder, that permitting agency, we are going to reach out and figure out what are the requirements that they have for our project. That's a good example right there, because literally you have to have permits when you do certain types of projects. And you've got to recognize that there are agencies outside of your organization or even inside of your organization that are going to levy requirements on your project. So like I said, we want to capture these individuals, we want to reach out to them, and we want to involve them in the requirements definition process. Now that same project charter sheet that I showed you in the last lesson, that's where I capture the stakeholders. I put a simple table at the bottom, I show the organization and the individual's role, who they are, and some kind of contact information. And we're going to regularly reach out to these individuals and kind of make them as that extension of our project team. So that's a nice short lesson. We want to include the stakeholders in our planning process. We do not want to plan in a vacuum. If we have just our team members and we're planning the project with just our team members and we don't involve external stakeholders, we are going to miss critical requirements. And if we miss critical requirements, at some point we're going to realize that we missed something, and then we're going to have to treat it as an issue. And then we're going to kind of wonder, how did we miss this? It's because we didn't plan properly. So don't plan in a vacuum. Reach out to the stakeholders, involve them in the requirements definition process. So that's it. A nice short lesson, identifying stakeholders. They're important. They help us define the requirements. With that, now you're ready to move on to the next lesson, which is identifying requirements.